Today I'm going to be talking about OpenClaw for teachers, and it's quite an interesting topic. Not that many people kind of aware of the possibilities, but recently I went ahead and I created something pretty cool, something I think just maybe you guys gonna like, especially if you are a teacher. Now, this is not for everybody, but if you happen to be somebody who is very good in constructing lesson plans, breakout activities, quizzes, that kind of stuff, and I wanted to grade students based on their participations, based on certain criteria, then yes, there's going to be percentages involved. There's going to be certain things that needs to be done to prove to uh, parents, to prove to college administrators, in case if you're teaching in college, that you're actually progressing. Now, progress is a tricky thing that not everybody can fully comprehend. Like, what does it mean, progressing? You see, progressing means being able to show overall learning effectiveness progression between point A and point Z. So kind of think of it like, okay, you created a test. Now people took the test, they got a certain score, great. Now I'm sure you have quizzes, you have midterms, that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like all of those quizzes and midterms and everything, whatever it is that you're doing, it needs to be grounded based on the curriculum. The curriculum can have multiple lessons, multiple questions, and it can be difficult to keep up. So here's what I was able to do with OpenClaw for very lucrative use case. My particular case, my use case is fairly simple. What I do is I, create a lesson, prepare the quiz, prepare the breakout activity, use the syllabus, that kind of stuff, and just make it super easy to kind of create all the stuff, create all the material. So if you're a teacher or a professor or adjunct type of university professor or whatever the case may be, or a tutor, then this is what I discovered recently. And sheesh, I wish I discovered that earlier. I didn't really think how powerful this stupid thing is, but apparently it is. So check this out. The other day I was so lazy. I was like, man, I gotta grade all those students based on whatever the grading metric, where you gotta specify if the student gets A plus or A minus, and I gotta be creating quizzes and all that stuff. It just takes forever. So I was like, I bet, what can I do to solve that? Because I really, I'm a lazy person. I just don't have time for this. So I wrote a bunch of kind of OpenClaw scripts. It all started out with just writing few scripts. Later on, I was like, what if I could build something that just will make it easier for my lesson that I'm teaching every Monday and Wednesday. And I already know the beginning, I already know the end, I already know what I'm gonna have in syllabus. I already know what, like, that I need to grade students. And I kind of already know all the details, all the nuances of what I'm supposed to do. Like, then why the hell am I doing it? How come OpenClaw ain't doing that for me? So where am I going? I got some chicken, I got some chicken, like here's the chicken right here. I got, today I decided to have some veggies. I needed to have some veggies. Gotta combine healthy lifestyle. Man, I'm still, my legs are still killing me from that run that I did in the city. From time to time I try to sign up for some of those runs to run around the city. In Manhattan, I go there and run around and jump into sauna, I do a little bit of workout, and then I head back out, and on the way there and the way back, I create a little bit of content that gets directly injected into OpenClaw, and OpenClaw does the rest. So anyway, look, today, guys, look, if you're a teacher or a struggling educator of some sort, and probably you heard about OpenClaw, and if not, think of it as a just like a basic AI tool that you install on your computer, and it's kind of like a human. It just runs and it does things for you, so you don't really need to like click on things anymore or babysit. It just kind of does it. But a lot of folks were reaching out to me and they were like, man, but as a teacher, how can I benefit from that? So for me, I guess I had to become a teacher for maybe 3 weeks to kind of experience what it truly means being a teacher. And of course, my background I got double degree in mathematics. I'm a former certified math teacher for the state of Connecticut, but I never really taught like on a public school settings. I kind of didn't like the public school settings, and I just left. I left and went to IT, and but not before recognizing another mission in the world of education and attempting to create a startup where I spent like 300 G's and failed miserably. I created some search engine for teachers to see if I could reunify them, to give them opportunities to earn some income. That didn't work out, guys. It was a good lesson learned. Later on, I was like, man, I learned my lessons, but I need to work off that 300 G's. I can't just fall into the passion and spend 300 G's and don't get anything out of it. And this is how I was able to develop like a bunch of just hobbies. I guess I want to say hobbies. And I started learning about AI and automations, that kind of stuff, and exploring just the world of like how people think, how brain works. I kind of watched a lot of neuroscientists, astrophysicists, anthropologists, mathematicians, and all sorts of like geniuses out there. Whenever I can't fall asleep, I just kind of watch them. I don't know why I watch them, but whenever I watch them, I feel like I'm getting smarter. I don't know what is it. But anyway, the bottom line is, guys, I don't want to bore you with that stuff. I mean, you download that OpenClaw, you use it, it will save you an incredible amount of time. And I just went ahead and I tried this with just one class. I cannot imagine, like, oh my God, if you have multiple classes, man, how much time you could save. It's absolutely insane. And when I tried it, I just tried it like with computer networking. That's the class I'm teaching, computer networking. Network Plus, that's the official name. I mean, I was hired by university to see if I could like teach a class. So I was like, I bet, let me give it a try. So I kind of had to dive into your world to kind of experience what is a typical teacher, like how their brain works. And I quickly managed to like figure out exactly what university needs, what instructors want, what students want. And based on that, I was like, man, what can I do how can I use OpenClaw for all this and save time on all the lessons, on the quizzes, because I'm super lazy. I don't want to be sitting there grading people's work, quizzes or any of that. And university is telling me that I need to be grading people, and I'm like, man, like, why should I be grading this? we live in a world of AI. Let the AI grade this. Let OpenClaw grade everything. That was kind of the idea. So anyway, the bottom line is I came up with a couple of quick solutions, stupid easy for you guys to execute. Solution number one, basically, like right now, anything I say is getting baked into OpenClaw, meaning right now, like as this video is getting created, as soon as it gets created and published, it feeds itself into OpenClaw. So OpenClaw already knows exactly my personality, it knows my direction, the goal, what I'm trying to do. And what it does next, it creates very solid like skills based on whatever it is that I'm talking about in this, for example, YouTube live, as I'm doing this right now. But it's not just some random skills. It's groundified based on the syllabus, tied to the actual like university thing, university mission, my own mission. So I kind of analyzed all the needs and wants of the teachers and figured out a way for how to clone the responsibilities of all sorts of people that work around you and bring them into OpenClaw. So what I did is I created like a simulation layer that brought all the identities, like depending whether you're, let's just say you're a teacher, let's say you're a university instructor and you have like a director, another person who is a coordinator, who, like instructor, coordinator. Another person is a student coordinator. And what I did is I just kind of brought them into OpenClaw in a simulated environment, because in order for me to be successful as an instructor, I need to have my support group. And those people are, like, I understand their manual responsibilities of what they do, but I needed to truly understand how I could integrate them into this simulated environment, so I can actually like increase the students' desire to join university and get more classes that I could teach. Of course, that was my other objective. So I basically ended up creating like a multi-million-dollar revenue structure for entire university, for their entire staff, by creating sort of like a second brain that you could tap into, and that I called it Feudal Educator Clay. It's sort of like a blanket that could be thrown on top of any kind of use case. And let's say if your identity happens to be a teacher or instructor, and you have all those other folks kind of running around and telling you certain things, like director, for example, sent a letter to me saying, there's going to be intro session, be sure like to pull your own networking connections to it to jump into this intro sessions over Zoom, and also like bring up the concept of scholarships. And that was just something that, you know, director mentioned. And for me as a person who looking at all those things of the needs and wants of directors, I'd be like, man, you know what, let me go ahead and clone the need of director into the simulation layer and interconnect that to OpenClaw. I was successfully able to do that, and it was kind of fun. I mean, I didn't really think much about it. I kind of was like, is there any way that I could be just lazy and not do anything and still have all those elements baked in for me, and kind of be really kind of get this whole ball rolling, so this way any kind of squad member that kind of operates themselves around me ends up somehow being benefited from that. So that was kind of the first thing. I did that. It was really kind of easy, guys. As soon as I did it, I was like, man, let me go ahead and create another OpenClaw use case. And the second use case that I created was automatic grading of all the quizzes, all the lessons, all the breakout room activities. And of course, guys, breakout room activity setup was absolutely bonkers. The biggest problem I had was with breakout rooms was like, man, I don't have the mental power to be creating those breakout rooms. Let me offload that to OpenClaw. So the OpenClaw thinks like how to create them, what scenarios to add. So students, when they take them, OpenClaw just grades them automatically and tells me what should I tell to students, and also tell me like when I should actually jump into students' breakout rooms and check on them to see if they're progressing. So obviously that was a crazy use case. I quickly made it work using nothing but Google Docs, Google Classroom, and just dedicating roles for each student. One of them is observer, the other one is executioner, and pairing them together based on the student's memory, and baking them into the overall kind of pipeline. So anyway, the bottom line is those pipelines can be a bit difficult for you to understand, or like how they work. It takes a little bit of time to get that natural feeling. It's sort of like natural logarithms. There is not natural logarithms, and there is natural logarithms. It's kind of the same way. You either feel naturally or you don't feel naturally about your workflows. So the first workflow was like, wait a second, so are you telling me that I never need to create any slides whenever I prepare the lesson? That realization was like, whoa, that's nuts. And then I was like, wait, but if I don't need to create any slides, I probably don't need to create any quizzes too. Is that correct? Oh my God, that is also correct. And then I was like, oh, wait a second. But if that's true with slides and quizzes, then what about the breakout room activities and all of those fancy activities that I want to run with my students, so this way I could be rewarded by university and land more opportunities with university? Like, what about those breakout room activities. Can I replicate them with OpenClaw? Oh my God, I can as well. Now, how can you even visualize or conceptualize the concept of breaking out students in real time into breakout rooms and having a little OpenClaw bot monitoring the heck out of each room, then coming back to me, the instructor, and telling me, oh, by the way, there's Peter, he's struggling with pinging some IP address. You may want to jump into that room. So obviously, guys, if you start looking at some of those high cardinality heterogeneous complexities, it becomes fairly straightforward that it becomes extremely beneficial. Now, you see, there's a limitation in your mind. Like if you're an instructor, if you're a teacher, if you're a professor, there's a limitation in your mind for how much your mind can process. And of course, if I start giving you all the use cases of how OpenClaw is being used, it's easily overwhelming. So what I did is I built something real quick. It's called Feudal Educator Clay. It's sort of like a blanket that you throw on top of your use case, and it wraps and morphs itself around your use case and around your personalities, your theme, your identity, your brand. In case if you wanted to get your students, let's say you have a hidden mission where you wanted to have your students participate in helping you build your small business, and as a favor in exchange, what you would do is provide them hybrid skills that are not taught in college, and that's, of course, that's a fair exchange rate. They get to help you build, I don't know, maybe a TikTok shop drop shipping store, while they get to learn in the process. I mean, heck, that's pretty good deal if you ask me. Barter rate, instead of spending money rate, and clearly don't care. And like obviously you don't want that. You want passionate freedom founder students who are well equipped with the personalities tied to your theme and tied to your objections. And your objections could be like, hey, I don't want to do something with somebody who is not really interested in truly becoming the future version of their successful self. But you would be interested in working with students who perhaps want to be, feudal lords one day. If you want to become that feudal lord, it takes a little bit of time for you to become one. First, you got to become a freedom founder, then the feudal lord. To become that feudal lord, you need to learn how to provide the full share for others. And not a lot of people think in transitive mentality, where you're building something as a solution, and when you're building it, you encompassing the version of yourself while also encompassing the transitive property of yourself, so somebody can use whatever it is that you built in a way that they could just apply sort of like a blanket on top of their use cases, morph together with their missions, visions, and themes or personalities and directions, in combination with anybody else who's revolving around their needs and goals. For example, in my particular case, there's I work in university, and of course there's university folks, the faculty members that are kind of spinning around my needs and wants. There's a support group and whatnot. I thought about it, how it would be kind of cool if I could just clone their needs and wants to OpenClaw. So I went ahead and I did it, and the result was, let's just put it this way, incredible. In fact, guys, right now I realize that everybody needs that support system, whether you're a teacher, instructor, adjunct professor, whoever you are. Essentially what you need is a clone version of the manual processes that are being wrapped around you. Now, not a lot of people can talk like that. It takes a little bit of time for you to develop structural, prolific expertise with high cardinality, heterogeneous complexities intertwined with every single word that you produce. That not everybody can do that, guys. This is a hybrid skill that is not taught in college. But heck, I mean, college went ahead and hired me and said, hey, Rome, can you actually teach some of those skills that are not taught in college? And I was like, I bet. How about we start with OpenClaw? And of course, right now, OpenClaw is absolutely bonkers. I mean, the things that OpenClaw does for me, sheesh, borderline illegal. I mean, right now, this OpenClaw, as soon as I'm done with this live video, it does a workflow. It already learns about everything that I discussed, construct a skill that is highly relevant for the beneficial vision and version of a grounded me, and that version of grounded me is tied to the syllabus of the of the curriculum that I'm teaching. And it knows how to, like, what to say, how to relate, how to include, what to include. And